When we're looking at the raising of crops, I think to the layman, the bystander, you do imagine that massive amounts of the world's crops are produced as a result of irrigation. That may not be true. I mean, can you expand on that?
Right, if you say so, that would be a biased picture actually, and this is a picture that we always have in mind, that water use in agriculture is always about irrigation, and this is why the discussion is now going on for 5 or 10 years or so, that we do not only have to focus on this so-called blue water, which is the water available in rivers, lakes, reservoirs and the groundwater, and which can be withdrawn for irrigation. Because in many countries and regions, agriculture, food crops are not being produced with irrigation and irrigate water extracted for irrigation, but they totally rely on the rainfall onto the cropland. So these are the rain-fed areas, and we call it the green water that is involved there, which is the water that falls as precipitation onto the ground, enters the soil, and then is taken up by the plants in evapotranspiration. So you don't have to add, or for very different reasons, you cannot add water to the plants because it's just this rain-fed production only relies on the precipitation. So it's important to distinguish between this blue water component, which is the water taken up from lakes, rivers and so on for irrigation, and the green water, which is basically in rain-fed agriculture. And about 2/3 of global food production is actually produced with the green water under rain-fed conditions, and only 1/3 is produced with irrigated water. And if you count it in terms of water consumption, which is the amount of water evapotranspiring on crop fields, really 90% of this is green water, and only 10% is the added blue water withdrawn for irrigation. I'm not questioning the value of irrigation, of course, because it had raised tremendously the crop production over the past decades, but we need to shift our focus also on the non-irrigated, the rain-fed crop fields, because that's where especially the poor farmers in large parts of Africa and parts of Asia and so on are working, and they just don't have access to blue water for irrigation. They don't have the infrastructure. There are no irrigation plants installed in these regions, and they have to deal with the little rainfall that is often falling there for their crop fields. And there are a number of measures how you can increase the crop production actually with little water and without irrigation. You can do a lot in soil conservation, making more water infiltrating the soil, so that in the end more water can transpire through the plants and then contribute to the build-up of biomass of plants and so on. And we need to really focus and also invest in rain-fed agriculture to improve the crop yields globally and regionally and locally, particularly in small-scale farming systems. While irrigation plays a role in addition, but this is often large scale, it is cost intensive, and it has some non-beneficial environmental side effects which rain-fed agriculture usually doesn't have. So we have to find the right mix for every individual region, how to do water management actually, especially in agriculture, how to make the best use of little water resources.